Welcome, young ladies and gentlemen, to our next lecture on chemical kinetics. We shall first revise what we did in first order and second order reaction. We had done extensively, including the graphs. So let us revise the first order. Just write down in your copies revision of first order process. Now the rate, the moment I say rate, it means dx by dt, which is variable every time, is equal to kt, kat or ka0 minus x. So this is the symptom. If you get the values of rates from the concentration versus time graph, if you get rate data at different times and the corresponding AT, concentration of the reactant, and if you check the ratio in at least 2-3 data, the ratio remains constant, then undoubtedly it is a first order reaction. And you have its unit as time inverse, second inverse or hour inverse, and the integrated equation will be T is equal to 1 by K ln A0 by AT. AT will come in the denominator. And the best way to solve many problems is exponential. I told you A T by A0, e to the power minus kt, and this is the fraction. This is the fraction of the reactant remaining at time t is equal to e to the power minus kt. So many problems can be handled in the examination with this exponential Napier's number with the power series expansion that I showed you. The first 2 or 3 terms will be good enough. First term will be always 1, and then second term will be always minus, third term will be always plus. So these 3 will give you the fraction. Can anyone tell me what fraction of a first order reaction will be remaining, will be left out after, say, 8 half-life periods? What fraction of, raise your hands, otherwise I will choose at random, wasting time. What fraction, I told you the trick how to find out what fraction will remain, and then subtracting that from 1 will give you what fraction is converted, and multiplying with 100 will give you the percentage of reaction complete. So Miss K.
Yes, sir. So the fraction remaining will be half to the power 8.
Precisely. After n, write down n half-life periods, n t.5, the fraction remaining, fraction of reactant remaining is equal to half to the power n. And in this question that I asked you, after 8 half-life periods, it will be to the power 8. That means 2 to the 4 to the 8 to the, and you continue to multiply 8 times, and whatever will be the factor here, that will be the fraction. And what is the fraction converted? 1 minus that. Now write down here, fraction completed is equal to 1 minus half to the power n. So this, the fraction completed will be 1 minus half to the power n. So you just look at the question, what it is demanding, whether it is the fraction remaining or fraction completed. AT by A0 will be the fraction remaining. So 1 minus AT by A0 is the fraction converted to product. There is another handy formula that also you can use is same. AT is equal to A0 half to the power number of half-lives. This T by T.5 is nothing but the number of half-lives. So these are the three important, and the half-life period is constant, you know, T.5 is ln 2 by K or 0.693 by K. That is the half-life period, which is independent of the starting concentration or initial concentration, unlike second order. And the graphs are you are very familiar with the graphs. And you know, if log R is equal to log K versus log AT, because R is equal to K into AT, this is first order. So a graph of log rate versus log AT will give you this with a slope equal to 1. That slope is nothing but the order, that is the first order. That is 1. And this will be giving you log K, that you know. And all the graphs you know. And what about second order reaction? How do you know it is second order reaction? And this is rate is equal to K into AT square. That means if you have got rate data and AT data, then R by AT square, if you get constant, at least 2-3 data, you analyze this ratio remains constant, then it is undoubtedly a second order process. And the integrated equation you get is very simple. There is no log term here. T is equal to 1 by K, 1 by AT minus 1 by A0. And the unit of K, as you know, molarity inverse, second inverse. Or you can say liter mole inverse, second inverse. So it is better to write in style molarity inverse, second inverse. And the graph you can draw. I'm not now wanting to spend time on drawing graphs because you have got mastery in drawing graphs. Just converting an equation to the form of y is equal to mx plus c, and then look for the question, which one it is asking, which one is the y coordinate, which one is the x coordinate. Accordingly, you draw and find what will be the slope and the intercept. And here the half-life period, unlike the case of first order, who can tell me the half-life period here is 1 by Ka0. So what is the slogan? Tell me, raise your hands, how many initial half-life periods will be required for 87.5% completion for a second order reaction, and you compare with the first order reaction. And what is the slogan for the half-life period in second order process? Yes, Sajan? Ari? Sajan Singh.
Yes, sir. The slogan is each half-life period is the double of the previous half-life period, and for completion of
Talk slow. Each half-life period is the double of the previous half-life period.
And for the 87.5% completion, seven half-life periods is required.
Yes, 7 initial half-life periods will be required. Initial, because first 50% T.1, T.5. Second 50%, the new half-life period will be double. 2 initial half-life periods, altogether 3. Now 75% complete. And for 25 to 12.5, double of 2t.5 means 4t.5 is required for having only 12.5% conversion. So altogether it is 7.5% conversion will be demanding 7 initial half-life periods, but for first order only 3 half-life periods will not change to remain constant. That's the beauty, and the graphs we know and everything. Now today we shall take up, and I think we did this problem at the end when we parted. This was the last problem. I think we had done this, have we? This one, yes or no? You just,
Yes, sir.
yes. We have done this, that if a flask contains NO2, the molarity is given and it gives NO and O2 in the second order process. What will be the concentration after 1 hour? How long will it take for concentration to be 10%? That we didn't do. I think I did it later. No, we didn't do. Has anyone? This we had done 80, that we have found out, and this we have done, and this we have done, but the other one I asked you to do it at home. When 10% means initial concentration to decrease to 10%, that means 80 by A0 is equal to 0.1. So 80 by A0, so you can, anybody who has answered this at home? What time it will be required for this second order process to decrease to 10%? No one?
Sir, 297.376.
Yes, the time required, you know, this 80, you can this, I told you that you put the value of 80 as 0.1 A0 here. K is known, 5 into 10 to the power, I'm sorry, K is 0. How much K? Yes, 0.54 is equal to 1 by T is the unknown, and 1 by, this will be 80 is equal to 0.1 into A0 minus 1 by A0. So A0 is already known, the initial concentration is 0.056. So you put the value of 0.056 here. So ultimately the time required for, to become 10% of the original is 200, how much? Yes, Mr.
Sir, 297.376.
So you should have done, all of you should have done this thing we left. Now today we will be doing 3-4 more orders. This will be our program today. Have a look. As much I'll be telling you, you write. Other things you will be getting. The second we have already done. This thing we have already done. This is the repetition. Have you integrated that? Who have integrated? You know, I told you when B concentrations, initial concentrations are different. Say A is A0 and B is B0. Then how to integrate? How many of you have done it? Raise your hands. I told you to do that. No one. Jasmine Lenka has done. And I have done it, but not in detailed way, but in a non-detailed way I have done. Then we have done this problem, and this we have done. Oh, yeah. Here I have found out the time. Oh, sorry, this is wrong. 1 by 80, okay, why? If A0 is 100, now A0 is given, it's not 100. Initially it was 0.056. So this is not correct. It is given 0.056. So I cannot presume it to be 10% of the initial ones. No, what Dibya said is the correct, and this is wrong. That you do at home. Now our work is to know what is pseudo first order reaction. Try to understand very carefully, mindfully, and I will give you notes up to certain stage, which are there in your books, all books. Beyond that, you don't need anything, but I will be telling something more, which will fascinate you, no doubt. But you write down the notes at home. But qualitatively, pseudo fast order reaction was formerly called pseudo unimolecular reaction. It is truly a second order reaction, but it fakes. I used to say, not I quote somebody, that you fake smiling till you make it. Similarly, it is really a second order reaction, but it fakes to behave as a first order reaction. In other words, it is virtually in the reaction conditions behaves as a first order reaction. This happens when one of the reactants is taken in large excess. For example, solvolysis reaction. So that supposing A plus B, out of these two, B is taken in large excess. Either it is a solvent which is naturally taken in large excess, or in any given reaction where we deliberately take one of the reactants concentration much larger than the other one. That case, the concentration of the excess reactant virtually remains constant. The decrease in the concentration of that is really very minimal. So virtually the rate is only dependent on the decrease in the concentration of A, which is taken in small concentration. So it behaves as if it is a first order reaction, and as if the order with respect to B comes 0. B has a concentration, but as if, because its concentration change is very minimal, it is 100 molar. Now the other one is 0.5 molar. So 0.5 is decreasing in such a rapid rate, but 100 molar is not changing very rapidly, it's very minimally. So it is taken to be constant. So therefore, we presume that the order is 0 with respect to that reactant. So if this is removed, anything to the power 0 is equal to 1. So it is reduced to a fast order reaction. So you write down this as quick as possible. Now see, now listen to me. Then if this term becomes equal to 1, 0 order with respect to B, then the rate equation becomes rate is equal to K into A. So we can apply fast order kinetics to this reaction, and integration we will find K is equal to 1 by T ln A0 by AT. But mind you, this K is fast order reaction rate constant, not second order. Not second order. And the examples are all solvolysis reaction. Solvolysis reactions. Here solvent is used in excess. It acts as a solvent as well as a nucleophile. For example, acidic hydrolysis of ester to give you alcohol and carboxylic acid. For example, hydrolysis of tertiary halides, 3-degree halides to give you an SN1 mechanism to give you alcohol. Alcoholysis of tertiary halides to give you ether. Inversion of cane sugar. Sugar is inverted to a mixture of glucose and fructose catalyzed by acid. That is also a pseudo fast order reaction or pseudo unimolecular reaction where water is taken in large excess or solvent. In the case of the third example, alcohol is taken in large excess. Alcohol is taken as solvent as well as the nucleophile. So you write down this is important for you. So after this, let me tell you, after having written these examples of pseudo fast order, let me tell you K, the constant, that constant is the constant for the pseudo fast order process. Not the K for the second order process. It is really a second order reaction, but this K is the K for the first order process. But this K is different when you take different high concentration of B. For example, this time you are taking B as 100 M, and in another reaction you have taken B as 200 M. So you will get two different K values, but in each of the reactions, it will behave as a fast order kinetics. The concentration of B will virtually remain constant and it will follow fast order kinetics. And if you really dive deep into how the pseudo fast order kinetics can be derived from the second order kinetics, particularly when the two reactants are different and the initial concentrations are different, A0 and B0. The task I gave you to do at home, which you have all done, the integration you have all done. So that I'm talking about that. Supposing you start from a second order reaction, A plus B giving products, and this K dash, K prime is the second order rate constant, not the first order, second order. Now, this is the final form. If you remember, I'm deliberately, to distinguish between the first order constant and the second order constant, I have taken K prime is equal to 1 by T into A0 minus B0 ln B0 AT by A0 BT. I asked you to derive this equation, which you did. And when B0, because B concentration is taken in large excess compared to A, so when B0 is much greater than A0, we can neglect A0 in this parenthesis because B0 is much greater. This is 100, this is 0.5. So you can neglect just to make an approximation. And here in the ratio, you can equate BT to be equal to B0 because the change in the concentration of capital B is very, very minimal because the starting value is so high. So BT is roughly equal to B0. So this term gets cancelled and this B0 remains, A0 is cancelled. So it is reduced to minus 1 by T B0 ln AT by BT, AT by A0 because B0 BT get cancelled, AT by A0. So if you convert minus to plus, then A0 comes up, AT comes down, and we get the first order kinetics. This if you do it, and this will be T is equal to 1 by K ln A0 by AT. So, or K is equal to 1 by T ln A0 by, this is nothing but a fast order. This K is nothing but equal to K dash into B0 because here B0 is brought to this side. So K dash is the rate constant for second order reaction. B0 is the real initial concentration of capital B, which is very high. So in place of K dash B0, we write K. So this, remember this equation, K is the first order rate constant, K dash is the second order rate constant, B0 is the real initial concentration of capital B, which is much greater than capital A. And to make minus plus, then this ratio has to be inverted. A0 comes up and AT comes down. So now this K is the constant for pseudo fast order process. While solving problems on pseudo fast order reaction, which will never appear in your examination, you must see whether you are dealing with K or K dash. It will be given first order rate constant or second order rate constant. You have to find out what is the first order rate constant. Accordingly, the strategy should be made. For example, yes, how to determine this K prime? How to determine K prime? K prime is the rate constant for the second order reaction. Note that for different high concentration of B, different K, the first order rate constants are obtained. I have already told you how to get that. These are obtained from the intercepts of log R versus log A graph for pseudo fast order process, taking different B concentration. Supposing this B0 is 100 M, the initial concentration of B is 100 M, and you are taking the intercept, whatever you are getting, is supposing it is K1, not prime, K1, that is the first order rate constant when B0 is 100 M, and you perform another experiment where B0 is 200 M, and again follow the first order kinetics, log R versus log A, you get a graph, and the intercept from that you get K2. So you get 2 or 3 or 4, 5 K values at different high concentration of B. And then you follow this expression. You know, this one is Y is equal to mx, the intercept is 0. So you draw a graph of variable K and the variable initial concentration of capital B, that is B0. You get a straight line passing through origin, and the slope of that line will give you the second order rate constant. Had it been, if you follow it by a second order mechanism, then this would have been, this is a very finer analysis. What could be the second order rate constant? If you really treat it as a second order reaction, then what would be its rate constant? But what we were doing, we were finding only the first order rate constant, treating it as a first order process, and taking log R versus log A per log AT. You are getting a approximate straight line, and the slope will be definitely 1 because it is first order, and the intercept will be log K. K means I have made it K1, K2 because the values are different, but they are K. That means the rate constant for pseudo fast order process, right? So let us solve some, these things you will be writing at home. Derivation of pseudo, it is never ever given any text. So I will not waste my our valuable time to, but make sure that the only thing you remember that K is equal to K dash B, K dash B0. And by solving a problem, you will understand then how to find the half-life period for a pseudo fast order reaction. And the real fast order pseudo fast order kinetics derived from the second law, second order reaction is K prime B0. So when T is equal to T.5, AT is equal to A0 by 2, then you substitute the value, you will find the K dash. What is K dash? Who can tell me? Who can tell me what is K dash? What is K dash? Yes, anyone?
Second order rate constant.
Yes, second order rate constant is equal to 1 by half-life period for the pseudo first order reaction into B0 ln 2. But if you multiply K dash into B0 here, if you bring B0 here, this becomes first order rate constant K, which is same that we studied before, 0.693 by K. So whenever you treat it as a first order reaction, this K is first order. But whenever you are given a data of second order rate constant, then you have to multiply with B0. Then only it will be converted to the first order rate constant, right? So we just write down one problem only. You want to write something? You want to write this? Or at home?
Yes, sir.
You want to write this now?
So the half-life period.
Then why not this? Why not this? If half-life period has come from this derivation, original derivation from second order, which the integration you have all done at home. So from there we have derived, presuming B0 to be very high, neglecting A0 inside parenthesis and BT equal to more or less same as B0, cancelling this, becoming 80 by A0, minus becomes plus. All these have come from second order kinetics. And then it is reduced to first order kinetics. And the constant, rate constant K dash, K prime into B0, that will be nothing but the first order rate constant, right? So all these things, you write the question, you leave a space, you write at home, let us not indulge in luxury. We should not indulge in luxury. You leave a space, you write down from the notes, from the lecture notes that I will provide. If a second order reaction has the rate equation K into A into B and the rate constant, that means second order rate constant is, you can know it from the very unit. You can know that this is a second order reaction from the unit of rate constant. A concentration is so small, B concentration is so large. What is the rate constant for its pseudo first order reaction? Because such a reaction will be faking to be first order. For a particular B concentration, if B concentration is 99 molar, then just you multiply the two. K prime into B0 will be the rate constant for the pseudo first order reaction. Done. You must be thinking, I am little becoming very fast. Why are you thinking in that way? Why are you not thinking that you can supplement, you can complement by doing some extra work at home to copy all these things so that we can go ahead and complete today's agenda, today's plan. And the second question I have given, what is the half-life of a reaction? A0 is equal to 109 molar and B0 1 m. Here A0 is high, B0 is small and A0 is high. Doesn't matter. One of them should be in high abundance. So this will fake, and K dash means from the very unit, it is a second order rate constant. So once you know the second order rate constant, then you can use the formula, this formula, ln 2 by K dash B0, this one. Or K dash into B0, if you multiply, then it becomes first order rate constant, then simply ln 2 by K. What I wanted to impress upon you, that if you are using as a first order, but second order rate constant data will be given, then this K dash into this one, A0. Here A0 is B0, because the higher concentration is the one which is remaining more or less constant. So don't be confused here. So here 45 molarity inverse, second inverse into 109. So that is the first order rate constant, ln 2 by this. So that the half-life period will be 1.41 into 10 to the minus 4 seconds. So small. Now you will do all this at home. Then we talk about zero order. Leave a space. Then we talk about zero order reaction. If you can save time, then I will be asking you to write all these things. But we have a lot of things to do. Now, this appears to be very strange to say some reaction has a zero order kinetics. Zero order means what? The whole reaction has a zero order kinetics. That means the power of the concentration of reactant is zero. So that becomes 1. That means rate remains throughout constant. Look to the irony. The reactant concentration is decreasing, but the rate is remaining constant throughout. How can it be possible? Now see what I'm reading it out. The rate remains constant throughout, although the concentration of the reactant goes on decreasing, but the rate remains constant. It is very, very hard to believe. It is very hard to digest. You have to have some digestive tonic to reconcile to the fact that while the concentration of the reactant is decreasing, the rate remains constant. It really sounds strange, but such time independent rate remains valid only in some restricted conditions, and that too for a limited time period. These are the conditions, restricted conditions and for a limited time period. Therefore, we often say this to be a pseudo zero order reaction. It should be better called that it is faking to be zero order reaction. It throughout the entire reaction, it cannot be zero. For some small length of time from the very beginning, for a small length of time, it will fake to behave as a zero order kinetics, and the reaction rate remains constant. Why? Because as the reaction fake, Didi, your audio is open. Didi, Didi, Didi.
Sorry, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I forgot.
This should be really called pseudo zero order reaction, because throughout it is not a zero order reaction. For some specific initial time period, the rate remains constant, and after that the rate decreases and it no longer remains zero order. As the reaction fakes to be zero order for some limited time, and thereafter the kinetics changes to non-zero order. How it happens, you know, I'll tell you, you will write all these things. You will write, don't worry. Zero order reaction can happen for a single reactant reaction if the reactant molecules are adsorbed, I repeat, adsorbed on the surface of the heterophase or solid catalyst. The catalyst and the reaction occurs on the surface of the catalyst. Once the reactant disappears, the product is expelled out from the surface of the catalyst, and the new reactant molecules takes its place. Thus, the concentration of the reactant remains virtually constant for some limited period of time. During that time, rate remains constant as the reactant concentration remains constant, and the reaction behaves as a zero order reaction. After some time, as the replenishment, that means compensation of the reactant molecules, cannot take place at a steady rate because the surface area will not be in a position to absorb more molecules. So the concentration will decrease and hence the rate will decrease. The reaction rate slows down, so the kinetics no longer remains zero order. It remains non-zero. You write these 2 pages. The rate remains throughout constant. As long as the zero order kinetics is on, the rate remains constant. How? Who can tell me how? Anyone who comes forward to tell me how the rate remains constant? Yes? Anyone? Now listen to me. We are starting with a huge number, 60, 57, 60. Today's starting number was 58. Now 5:15, it is 50 now. 8, 7 have gone. Maybe they are unable to get into the network. Now see, Sthiti, Miss Karim, Miss Ponda Anvesa, see, supposing this is the solid catalyst, platinum. It is a platinum where a gas is adsorbed on the surface. Ammonia is adsorbed and heated in the surface. So the moment ammonia is heated to produce nitrogen and hydrogen, they are expelled out, they go out. And new ammonia is adsorbed because it is in equilibrium with ammonia container. So as much of ammonia is decreased from the surface, same quantity of ammonia is replenished, is compensated by new ammonia from outside, from the gaseous phase. It will come to the solid phase. So the concentration remains constant. And hence the rate remains constant. But the question is, how did I then say that the concentration is decreasing? That is itself a dichotomy, a contradiction. Now for that, you have to visualize as if the replenishment is not occurring. You have to only look to what amount is left out. Forget about the replenishment or compensation from the gaseous phase to the solid phase. So when you take that which is left out into account, it will, decrease in a linear manner, not in a exponential manner as you find in other orders, because rate is a constant quantity throughout. Rate is constant, so there will be only one slope, not more than one slope. So only one straight line has one slope. So such graph of concentration variation with respect to time, unlike other orders which are exponential curves, it is a straight line here. But here you have to presume the concentration of the reactant which is left out, not including that which is being replenished or added from outside to make the concentration constant. So in this way, I can say the first order kinetics is a myth. It is just a, the curves that we will draw now is just a geometrical mathematical gimmick. It has no practical relevance. On one hand, we are saying that concentration remains constant. So hence rate remains constant. In the other hand, we are saying that the concentration is decreasing. And hence the rate versus, concentrations versus time graph is a straight line with a negative slope, linear. Have you written down? Therefore, we often say it is a pseudo zero order reaction. Now see what happens, Now, up to certain time, have a look. Up to certain time, it behaves as a zero order. And the moment the solid surface no longer has the capacity to absorb more fresh molecules, it loses all capacity, then it becomes non-zero. That graph becomes again curve, that is an exponential. But up to certain time, the graph will be linear, concentration versus time. So up to this time, it will behave as a pseudo zero order reaction. And when I say concentration will remain constant, then you will be asking me, then why not the concentration versus time graph is not parallel to the time axis? No, you have to take the amount of reactant left out, not the replenishment and making the concentration fixed, not that. You have to take only what remains. That which is remaining will be changing in a linear manner up to certain time, as long as it will affect to behave as a zero order reaction, right? So you have completed this. Then the second page, zero order reaction can happen for a single reactant reaction. If the reactant molecules are adsorbed on the surface of the heterophase catalyst and the reaction occurs there. There means on the surface of the catalyst. Once a reactant disappears, the product is expelled out the surface and new reactant molecules takes their place. Thus, the concentration of the reactant remains virtually constant for some limited time. During that time, rate remains constant as the reactant concentration remains constant. The reaction behaves as a zero order reaction. After some time, as the replenishment of reactant molecules does not take place at a steady rate, the reaction slows down. Over? Now these are the examples: decomposition of nitrous oxide over the surface of nickel at high temperature, decomposition of laughing gas over the surface of platinum. I have not written. These are some of the, no. I am so sorry. I got lost somewhere. I'm so sorry. So just to distinguish between the same reaction faking as zero order and second order. If it is simply heated, it is a second order process, first order, second order. Square of N2O is one reactant. But if it is carried out on the surface of nickel, then it is a zero order reaction, because the concentration of nitrous oxide for a small length of time remains constant due to constant replenishment, compensation, and until that time zero order kinetics continues. But the same reaction becomes second order if it is done in a gaseous phase, not on the heterophase, not on the surface of the solid catalyst. Nitrogen and oxygen, which are products, are expelled out. The reaction occurs at the surface of the catalyst. All N2O has to be adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. The moment some N2O goes out, is lost, is gone, then new N2O comes from the gaseous phase onto the surface. But for kinetics, for graph, we will not take the new N2O. The old N2O we shall be taking to see the graph, how it is changing. Now, you go to the next page. Only 2 examples I have given here. So much of time is not required at all. Arpita, not seen these days. Okay, nobody, I'm sorry, nobody. Okay, now see, to do the great integration here, just have a look. dx by dt in this case is equal to K into reactant concentration to the power 0, because it is remaining constant. We have to presume as if the concentration to the power 0. It carries no meaning, but somebody will asks us what is the order with respect to A. We have to say it is 0 order because it is remaining constant. I mean, therefore, since the rate is remaining constant, the order is bound to be 0 order with respect to A. So the unit of K in this case is same as the unit of rate. The only case where rate and rate constant, they have the same unit, molarity time inverse, same as rate. And let us do some kinetics. dx by dt is equal to K. This term becomes equal to 1. Then dx is equal to K into dt. Integrating both these sides, it will become x plus kt with integration constant C0. When time is t is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. So C0 is also equal to 0. So then final kinetics is written in the red. X, the product concentration, is equal to rate constant for the 0 order reaction into time. So you write all these steps. Now see, you take t to one side and k to the other. T is equal to x by k, and in place of, now listen, don't write. In place of x product, we write A0 minus AT. A0 is the initial concentration of the reactant. AT is the concentration now remaining. So A0 minus AT is the product that has already disappeared. So in place of X, we write A0 minus AT. And then make a little rearrangement. AT, let us bring it to one side. So AT is equal to A0 minus KT. Or in place of AT, we can write a capital A concentration. In place of A0, we can write capital A0 concentration. That is initial concentration minus KT. So if you draw the concentration of the reactant versus time, it will be linear. I was telling that from, I mean, long since I've been telling, is the only graph where you get linearity between concentration versus time, and it is a negative slope. K, the slope will be equal to minus K, the rate constant for the zero order reaction, and the intercept will be this A0, initial concentration of A. But this is just a theoretical graph. For your examination purpose, it is okay. But actually this graph will be linear up to this, and it will be really like this. Have a look. It will be linear up to certain time interval, up to a short time interval, as long as the catalyst is perfect to adsorb more and more, and as long as it expels out the product and create new space for the reactant to be replenished, to be compensated. If he doesn't expel out the products, it doesn't have a new space created. So there will be no reactant coming from outside, and the reactant concentration will decrease, and it will be first order or second order. Non-zero order will continue, and all non-zero orders will be exponential, and it is a never-ending process. Maybe for fast order reaction, it will take less time to become 87.5 or less time to become 93.75, but second order much greater than that, and third order still much greater than that, but never ending process. But theoretically, zero order reaction will be complete within only 2 initial half-life periods. We shall prove that a zero order process will be complete 100%, which really doesn't happen in 2 initial half-life periods. So what I was saying, just write down this and draw the graph. The rate remains constant as long as there is a zero order prevailing. The rate, which is equal to K, remains constant. Rate which is equal to K, rate constant is same as rate, and that will remain constant with time, and there are only 2 graphs for this. Of course, you can be asked in a tilted way. I can take T to the y-axis and AT to the x-axis. You can just rearrange the equation and see what will be the slope and what will be the intercept. You can have a look. It can be reciprocal. The only change that happens, the nature of the graph doesn't change. I mean, the slope doesn't change. Negative means negative, but the value of the slope and the value of the intercept do change if the coordinates are interchanged. Now listen to me. What I'm saying now, the graph looks paradoxical. Graph looks paradoxical. Paradoxical means unconvincing. As the concentration of A or AT decreases with time, while in reality, the concentration of the reactant remains constant as long as zero order kinetics persists. In fact, the A taken in the graph does not, A in the graph does not take into account, not taken, has not taken into account. It will be better to make it as. The graph given for the zero order kinetics, that A concentration has not taken into account the addition of fresh reactant to maintain it at a constant value. It shows only the how A decreases with time. That graph is a linear graph. The graph of zero order reaction is a myth and only a mathematical gimmick. A never attains zero value. Actually, after some time, the kinetics becomes non-zero and A concentration decreases exponentially as a never-ending business. But this is not for you. This is for you. For you, it is this. It is 100% reaction will be complete. But for me, that a zero order reaction, which is initially zero order, after some time it becomes non-zero and it is a never-ending process and it will never be 100% complete. Write down this. Over. You are so fast. Yes, thank you. Now see, half-life period for zero order reaction is very interesting. If you take T is equal to T.5, then AT will be A0 by 2. Half gone, half remaining. So if you put AT as A0 by 2 and T as T.5, then you get this expression, half-life period is equal to A0 by 2K. That means half-life period is directly proportional to the starting concentration. This is completely in contradiction, I mean contrary to second order reaction in which A0 was in the denominator, inversely proportional. Here it is directly proportional. And the slogan therefore here is every half-life period is 1/2 the previous half-life period. And if you draw a graph of half-life period versus the initial starting concentration, it will be a linear graph according to this expression. And the slope will be 1 by 2K. Slope will be 1 by 2K. Y is equal to mx. There is no C here. So it will pass through origin. Then mathematically, just compare how we made an analysis. After how many initial half-life periods, we found that in second order, there were 7 initial half-life periods needed for 87.5% completion. Similarly, let's see what happens here. Mathematically, 2 half-life periods are only required for 100% completion. In reality, this never happens. For example, for the first 50%, 1 half-life period. For the next 25%, that means a total of 75%, it will be half of the first half-life period. This T.5 is the initial half-life. This T.5 is constant, the starting value. So half of this and another 12.5 for total 87.5, it will be these two and half of this. That means 1 by 4 T. And if you go for a series, it will ultimately land up to 2 half-life periods. Or half T.5, 1 by 4 T.5, 1 by 8, 1 by 16, 1 by all these in the infinite series will be giving you only 2 half-lives. That we can geometrically prove that. You need not write this. So these are initial half-life period. So let me somewhere write that T.5 is the initial half-life period. Because half-life period is decreasing, steadily decreasing. You know, in fact, my interest is to prepare a rich content for a global audience. So it is getting delayed, otherwise. And to prove it in a more elegant and simple way, geometry is the best choice. So every half-life period is half of the previous half-life period. In second order reaction, it was double of the previous half-life period. So it slows down. I mean, it becomes faster. I mean, I'm sorry, it hastens up. So much so that in 2 half-life periods, it ends. 2 initial half-life periods. I repeat, initial half-life periods, it completes. But such a thing never happens. It is just a mathematical gimmick. Over. So we will complete this 0 order only, can't go to second, third, fractional negative. So next time I'm getting delayed, but no doubt Saturday will be organic day. Saturday will be organic day. Those who are very sound in organic, they may now see how geometrically we can prove that 2 initial half-life periods are required. All of you now look to what I'm saying. Please look to the diagram. So if you make PQR, RST, these are the 2 right-angle triangles which are isosceles. The angle side rule will say that the 2 are congruent. Congruent. So that, you know, this angle, they are same. This 90 degree, this 90 degree. And one side is same because this is half. One half is gone. Another half is remaining. So this is same as this. So obviously the 2 triangles become congruent, and therefore QR is equal to ST. And hence, since QR is equal to OS, so OS is equal to ST. So only 2 half-life periods will be required for the completion. You can also prove it from the equation, from the first order equation. If you take T 100%, then this AT will be equal to 0. There will be no reactant left out. So T 100% will be equal to A0 by K. And T 50%, you already know the equation, half-life period A0 by 2K. So if you take the ratio, T 100% by T 50%, so all will be cancelled, it will be 2 only. So T 100% will be twice of T 50%. So half-life period, so for 100% completion, only 2 half-life periods will be required. So we can prove it geometrically from the first order equation, and also as a power series, you know, half T.5, 1 by 4 T.5, 1 by 8 T.5, and so on. You draw this. Then we'll take some examples, more examples, and go. And as some problems you will be solving at home. We'll give you the home task. Then third order kinetics. Second order we have already done. I'm sorry. Third order. So that we'll be doing. Second order, by mistake I told, we have already done second order. It's not a big deal if you by chance are missing to understand what is AAS, angle side rule, to prove the 2 triangles are congruent. Here the 2 angles are same and one side, so that the 2 are congruent, and therefore QR is equal to ST. And since QR is equal to OS, so OS is equal to ST. So if OS is T.5, so ST is also another T.5. So 2 initial half-life periods are required for 100% completion. And Bhaidhar is totally out today. Mr. Bhai. Swayam. Mr. Bhai. Swayam. Mr. Bhai. Mr. Bhai. And please write to me if you have got any desire to revive back our morning class. Please write to me, then it's possible. I will also request them who are also suffering to resume our morning class. If possible, all of you agree. And for the whole course, I think we have to depend on online. I don't think this year the schools and colleges will open. But is it over? Will I go to the next? They have not indicated. Now, some of the other examples of zero order reaction is the decomposition of ammonia over platinum surface. And see the interesting example. This is over catalyst, okay, understandable. The decomposition of NO2 that we took, that was N2, I'm sorry, laughing gas, N2O over catalyst. And similarly, decomposition of ammonia over catalyst is understandable. But here there is no solid phase. Here, hydrogen and chlorine are reacting over the surface of water. That has been found to be zero order with respect to both. That is very typical. Supposing this is a constant pressure experiment, here is water, and here hydrogen and chlorine, and this is light will fall on it. So the sooner HCl is formed, it will be absorbed in water, and the volume will be decreased because it is carried out at constant pressure. The volume will decrease. So the concentration of hydrogen and chlorine will remain constant. But you have to consider, as if volume is not decreasing and the concentration is not remaining constant, it is decreasing. In that light, you have to follow the kinetics. But actually the concentration will remain constant. So even if it is not a solid phase catalysis, it is taking place over water, over the surface of water. That also has been found to be a zero order reaction with respect to both the reactants. Write down. ASAP. Now the other example, interesting example, is enzymatic catalysis. Most enzyme catalyzed reactions in organisms are zero order, because we shall see catalysis, the topic after this. We see that in enzymes there will be a very well-defined cavities where reaction takes place, and the moment product is formed, it is expelled out. New reactant comes. So the same mechanism takes place as we understood for the decomposition of ammonia over platinum or nitrous oxide over nickel. Same type of things happen in, over the catalyst, over the enzymatic catalysis. And pseudo fast order reaction has a zero order with respect to the other reactant which is taken in large excess. Even it is a second order reaction if one of them is taken in large excess, then the order with respect to that reactant can also be zero. In many complex reactions, we shall see, many complex reactions, we shall derive the rate law, that rate law, there will be no concentration term. One concentration term will vanish here. For example, NO2 plus CO gives NO plus CO2. In the rate law that we shall study, it's a complex reaction containing more than one step. If a reaction contains more than one step, it is called complex reaction. If it takes place in one step, it is elementary reaction. So in a complex reaction, we have to take all the steps, and the rate determining step is the slowest step. And we have to do a lot of, correlation between the different steps to find the final rate law, to eliminate the intermediate species, and to find certain rate law which will carry only the reactant and product. Sometimes product concentration will appear in the rate law. Here, carbon monoxide is totally eliminated. So if somebody asks us what is the order with respect to carbon monoxide, we have to say it is zero order with respect to carbon monoxide. If it's nothing, if no term is there, then it is zero order with respect to that, because it is a reactant. So with this, we conclude, and these are very simple things. You can do it. Next time on Saturday, we will be doing organic chemistry. So we stop today's session by